And good morning, everybody. You are listening to another episode of Liberty Collaborative. And as always, I have K. Carl Smith, Chris Coyle, and myself, Aaron Bowman. We're only missing one of the horsemen, and that would be Michael Hancock. He's doing other things today. So you have just the three of us. And if you've noticed, there's really not much of a title except the American Conversation. So today we're just no particular topics. We're just going to sit here and discuss a few things because there is so much going on in the news. But before, guys, I get into it, I have to do my public service announcement for all the men out there and women listening. Valentine's Day is just around the corner, so make sure you get that card and don't wait till the last minute like I end up will be. So welcome, guys. How are you?
Good.
Doing great, guys. Doing great.
So I'm going to kick this off here, and this is something that I kind of find interesting, and maybe we can dive into this a little bit. But if you look back a few months ago, we had fraud coming out of Minnesota. Then it was the ICE riots and the protesters and people getting shot. Then it turned into back to the Epstein files for a little bit, and then it disappeared, and all of a sudden it's all about Bad Bunny and the halftime show. And as I was thinking about this the other day, it's amazing how much the legacy media can divide people so fast and so often, because I've been diving through the Epstein files. There's a site, you can go to the DOJ website, or you can go to this site where somebody's uploaded all the documents from the federal government, and it looks like you're looking into Epstein's email account, his Google Drive, and everything's there. So it's all searchable, a lot easier than dealing with the DOJ website. And some of the stuff that's in there, not only is it creepy, but it's amazing that nobody's been arrested. And this isn't like mainstream news where they're reading some of these emails where they're talking about, like, these people love pizza more than I've ever met. Or jerky is the other one I found, where they're keeping beef jerky in a freezer, which is odd because, as we all know, you don't have to keep beef jerky in a freezer. So to me, it's just interesting, one, how the legacy media can divide a group of people so quickly. Like every different month, there's something else to be angry about. And then when there's actual...
Is that me or is that you, Chris? Is that my signal's going bad here? Because y'all came in gargled. Is that me?
Oh, it might be your signal.
Might be yours, K. Carl.
So with that said, it's just interesting how you have this horrific events that have been going on through all these email dumps, left or right. I don't care. You need to be held accountable. But yet people are more concerned about the Bad Bunny halftime show.
Well, Aaron, let me jump in here, and I love to find one of those few areas where maybe you and I disagree a little bit. So, folks, I'm like this: the human mind, the human being, assimilates and evolves very quickly, and so I think most people realize Epstein was a creep. He was worth millions through some sugar daddy he had connected with, and was, in a legitimate sense, a finance guy from Wall Street that connected with poor Alan Dershowitz. He connected with people. One guy, the Treasury Secretary, brought his family to his island. So there were a lot of people in his orbit, right? But within that orbit was clearly some bad stuff going on. We all know that. And we all know that it's probably likely there was some intelligence services, right, that were somehow using this information. Maybe that's sort of the scuttlebutt. And we know that he was let off easily on some initial charges. And then we know he miraculously hangs himself when the guards are asleep in the video. So this is your classic sort of story that you were never going to get the truth. Everyone sort of knows they were blackmailing Democrats and Republicans, and there was some creepy stuff going on. But to me, this distraction, Biden had it, other people had it.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got both parties spending us blind with continuing resolutions. We have constantly uncovering of corruption at a enterprise scale no one has ever seen. You've got potential in Iran, Venezuela, right? All this stuff. And then people want to talk about Epstein, and you're right, Bad Bunny for whatever that. But I don't get, Aaron, why there's this fascination with Epstein. It's like a
Because
weird thing.
they don't want to go to jail. That's why people don't want to take. Look, if the truth comes out, and we know the truth. There's no statute of limitations of what they did, right?
Right. There is or there isn't.
Right.
There's not.
Oh,
And what's
They're asking to go to jail. They're scared of that.
right.
yeah.
And what's interesting, K. Carl, is when you look at what like Pam Bondi had just said. She said that if they actually arrested everybody that's involved, it would take the system down. I don't know about you, but I'm okay with that, I guess. to some
Let's take
extent.
the system down. We don't need to have a revolution, but we need some new leadership.
Right.
Well,
And-
and sorry, Aaron, if I were the defense, and I need to be careful because the whatever our growing audience, people will send me hate mail.
Yeah.
But Alan Dershowitz has defended virtually everybody on earth to give them their constitutional rights. And so they have vilified him because he had a relationship with Epstein. I think defended him in one part. But what I would like to see and say is that nowhere has anyone ever pointed out that these people, Epstein, used coercion, violence, force, and again, it's a intriguing high echelon of power, but at the end of the day, they don't prosecute people who steal money from our federal government. They do all this
Right.
stuff. So it's like almost this weird fascination of stuff that happened 20 years ago. So that's all. Contextually, is it relevant? It sure is. But in lieu of everything else, isn't it a little of a distraction? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is because I think there's those people out there that if they redacted everything, released everything, they would still say the government's hiding stuff, right? The trust in government's not that high these days,
No.
I guess. And the other point is all we have is these grand juries, these investigations, but nobody's getting the silver bracelets and going behind bars. Like, I don't understand that. I'm tired of hearing all of we're investigating. No, how about you just arrest somebody at this point?
Well,
Like,
Aaron, let me challenge you though, K. Carl. We got this guy Brennan and Comey, who literally, I
Right.
think, tried to do insurrection. I mean, non-patriotic. These are betrayed the trust of our country, and they're going around on CNN. And then we got Bill Clinton. We all know what Bill did on the island. Come on. Do we think Lutnick, who went the island with his kids? No, the guy had an island. So he was able to do things. So we're going to now try and criminally indict Bill Clinton? It's disgusting. There were things that were done wrong, but where's the prosecutor prioritization? Brennan and Comey, to me, are targets number one for lying to the American
absolutely.
public and corrupting our system.
Oh yeah, all of them, Chris, all the way to Minnesota. They all need to be held accountable.
I agree with that. Take them on. Hey, they're not above the law, and so they think they are, and they think they should be protected by media, by politicians. I think let the truth fall out the way
Yeah.
it should, and
Yeah.
just you reap the consequences. That's what we have to do. That's what we live with every day.
Well, and think about this, though, K. Carl. They dumped this tranche of stuff. So, again, I'll take Dershowitz because I respect the man. They are ruining people's reputations because they met with him once or they're in a photo.
Right.
So you look how the left's using where they have a photo with all these heads and they go, oh, there's K. Carl's head back here. It's like Forrest Gump movie
Yep.
where he happens to be. And they're pillaring these people, slandering them for just showing up in a picture. So to
Yeah.
me, it's so disgusting.
It is. And if you watched any of Pam Bondi yesterday getting grilled, I mean, she just fell apart. It was a three-ring circus yesterday. And,
She was laughable. I mean,
Yeah.
I love. She's too giddy for me. She's not. Doesn't take. It's too giddy. Get serious. Solve the problem. Admit what you did wrong. Made mistakes. Let's go. Let's move forward.
right?
Yeah.
All this deflecting is not going to get it. And in the meantime, we as Americans, we're the ones suffering.
Right.
Prices
Yeah,
going
yeah.
up at the grocery store. Cost of living is going up, and yet we're focusing on things that should be taken care of by people we put in office. The Epstein stuff. Let's deal with it. And that kind of ties into, I'm getting into it now, what I think we should be. I'll be remiss if I didn't bring this up. This whole thing about the social media posts depicting the Obamas as monkeys. I think that, and it kind of ties in. Watch this. It's going to tie into this Epstein situation here. Here's how. Uh, do I think Trump is a racist? After I was advising him for 2 years, back in 2018 to 2020, here's a man that increased the funding to historical black colleges. Okay, that's not racist. So here's my take on this. Trump and his operatives, they know the history of depicting blacks as monkeys. They know their history. But what Trump is doing, in my opinion, he's using the media and sending them down a rabbit hole, and they're going because he's what? It's diversionary tactic. He's drawing their attention from what, the Epstein, from the economy. I don't know, but the media, they're so obsessed with race. And here was the giveaway for me. When they went to Trump and asked him to apologize, he did not apologize. That was right there. I said, okay, this is about a strategy. This is about sending the media, get them all excited. They can't resist anything like race, controversy. The media can't resist because they're obsessed with race, the left-wing media. So now that's what they're talking about all over the place. And Trump, once again, is using the media to his benefit, and they don't get it.
Yeah, distract him.
That's an interesting way of looking at it, K. Carl. I never thought of it that way. That is a good divisionary tactic. I mean, if that's how he's using it, what he's diverting people from, I'm not sure. But
Well, think about it. What when something like that that's wrong, the monkey depiction of the bombers was wrong, and you don't apologize for it, something else is going on.
yeah,
Anybody can see that was wrong,
Yeah.
but you don't apologize for it. It's because by not apologizing for it, it kept it going, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
And
Good way of
people's
looking at it.
attention spans are so short, that'll be old news, in a matter of days. The cycle now.
I think one of the things, Chris, I don't want to cut you off if I lose my thought, my senior moment here. One of the things I think that Trump is trying to divert attention from is the policy they're trying to push through right now to change the status of federal employees, make them at-will employees.
Great point.
That's a big issue.
Yeah.
That's a big issue.
Guys, I'm gonna throw it a little different yet again. Here we have, right? The Kamala Harris ran on "I'm not that guy," right? And remember the threat to democracy, abortion. They tried to make an issue, but with what was it, $1.7 billion, which we now wonder where all that money came from. Maybe the Treasury, NGOs. She couldn't move the needle, right? They had no campaign. And now they're going on the classic, let's just find something we could be against. So what are they against right now? They're against voter ID for elections across the country. And what I find mind-boggling, okay, Carl, I want to go to you, is I think you said it to me or someone trying to say that having ID is Jim Crow laws, is this. And there's a wonderful video circulating, the lady in her car just going off about this. And she said, this is such BS. I go to the store to buy beer. I need my ID. I go on a plane. I need my ID. I go anywhere to get my check from whatever federal benefit. I need my ID to anything. And she said, you know what this is? They're done with us. They now want the illegal immigrants, their vote. And so they're just lying to everyone. And this is their own classic. That is, the Democrats think that they have these built-in constituencies. Well, they're all rebelling against this, saying, we know what you're doing. So they're not covering this. So this is how the Democrats are going to win a majority in the country, being against voter ID.
Chris, the Democrats has been doing that for decades, and they think it has worked for them. I think the time has run out. People are seeing that. Even last year, you had over 2 million people to leave the Democrat Party, and a lot of them were black. It doesn't work anymore. To say that the voter ID making it mandatory, discriminatory toward blacks. Why we always got to be the laziest people can't go out and get a voter ID? That's supposed to be BS. It's not
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
What we did in Alabama, they said, okay, you can't go out and get a voter ID, that the NAACP, the folks were saying. So they took like a mobile library van, the Secretary of State did, and went around these communities down the street, having people come like the ice cream man, come get your voter ID, get your government ID.
Yeah.
Made it easy for them. So now the excuses went away, but they still harping on that because they're trying to appeal to the people who are simple-minded. I never told this story before. A friend of mine, no, not now, but he served in the Alabama State Legislature. He and I went to college together, and we just had lunch together, talking about the record. I said, John, why do you keep talking about voter ID that black folks is discriminatory toward blacks? You know that's not true. He said, yeah, I know it's not true, but why y'all keep telling that lie? He said, we got to keep the natives restless. We got to make them think there's always a booger man. I said, but you're lying.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all about power to them.
Right.
It's all about power. It's
Yeah.
not. So it's always it's a lie, and it doesn't make sense. There's no logic to it. There's no truth to it. But they keep saying that because the people then who hear it, they think that somebody's protecting them, protecting their rights, but it's not true.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I left the Democrat Party. I got tired of being lied to.
Yeah.
But
Boy.
I guess the Republican Party too. So that's the.
Yeah. They got
What-
lying on an institutional scale. Well, Aaron and Kate Carl, my closing thoughts are this. What we say often to people about this show is you got to get all the content. So if you're interested in a story, read more about it. And if you really want to understand it, get it in context. In other words, the media keeps serving up these slices, but when you step back and say, what's the bigger picture? Well, they're all about against the SAVE Act, voter ID. So in Atlanta, they go and seize voting documents by law that are supposed to be saved. And what do? They come out with a press conference, and Connecticut right here, our Secretary of State, oh, they're trying to nationalize elections. So, Kate Carl, the corollary to a lie is massive deflection. This story, don't ask why they're collecting, whether they're real paper records to validate the ballots. By law, you have to have. No, it's about this over here. It ain't about this over here. It's about what may be real crimes where you have all these sudden mass of votes coming, and there's no paperwork or the testimony that all these ballots look identical, like they were printed, right? So
it's crazy, Chris. It's like they keep saying. I heard on the news that Trump's claim of voter fraud was not proven. Is his false claim of voter fraud? That's like saying O.J. Simpson was found innocent, but damn it, he did it. Right? Yeah, just because you didn't get caught, that don't mean you didn't do it.
Yeah, Carl, it's amazing. And I see it up here. I have a friend over in Rhode Island who was hired by the Trump folks to do research, and he did data research. And he came out, and the left loves him now because he said there was no smoking gun there. It's all good. What I point out is there's a lot of other evidence besides looking at databases. And we know, everyone knows, when you look at it and go, how do you explain the surge of Biden voters? What was it, 20 million additional votes? How do you explain the counting stops in Georgia the next morning? It's flipped, and suddenly there's 20, 30,000 votes. And what I love, guys, is they literally go, nothing to be seen here. This has been, what do they use the words? Debunked. Proven false. Oh, really? Is that why you had Fannie Willis suing Trump to try and create a smokescreen? People, so just like Epstein, to me, these are fundamental to our democracy. Again, I'm not minimizing the ugly and awful stuff that happened with Epstein, but I'm just saying in terms of consequential things, if we can't trust our elections, guys, SAVE Act and then these investigations, to me, that's where the focus ought to be. Those are my ending comments.
All we got to remember, and I'll let you talk, Aaron, in a minute. We'll let you in. All we got to remember is Biden, in my opinion, was a junior varsity player. He was not a varsity player. He's a senior on the JV team. All of them knew, his supporters knew he had dementia. They lied about that, Okay, he had no problems. They lied about that. You have to cheat to win. 'Cause the rest of Americans, we knew it,
Right.
but they taught us like we didn't know. They would think that our eyes are fooling us, right? So
I remember when Trump said, I don't understand what he just said, and I don't think he does either.
Either.
yeah. And it goes back to Hillary Clinton. When Hillary Clinton had to come up with a lie about the Russia inclusion
Yeah.
and lied about that, that's before Biden.
Right.
So the left have to lie because their message, they're going so far left. It is Marxist. It is socialist. They're losing the foothold. So they got to go back to their old tactics of fear mongering, uh, lying to the people, and keep attacking Trump. But one thing we need to maybe talk about next week. I'm concerned about the midterm elections.
Yes.
I'm concerned about that.
Hey, Aaron,
You got it.
for all the viewers that may see this, I've started reading this book, and I'll tell you, K. Carl, home run, because Frederick Douglass is ours. He proved what liberty is about. Karl Marx is theirs, and people got to read your book, K. Carl. It's really great stuff.
And what I want people to really understand, the book is in a category of as a fictional book because although Douglas and Marx were born in the same year, they never met. But that's where the fiction starts and stops because what they said in each debate, there's 31 debates, in their debates going back and forth, is based on what they actually believe in terms of what they said, in terms of their writing, their speeches. So when Karl Marx talked about not liking private property, that's what he said. What he said about religion, opiate of the masses, rights for individuals, the power of government, and Douglas countering all that is based on that truth. So this clash of these titans, I use that word loosely for Karl Marx, these clash of these great minds at that time is now it unfolds where you see why liberty is important and why Douglas kicked Marx's ass in every debate.
Yeah, it is so
It's
good.
based on the founding principles. It's based on God given rights, and it's great to teach young people about the value of liberty and the difference between communism and God given rights, communism and capitalism or free market system.
Well, I highly recommend your book.
What debate are you on?
I'm on the third one, but what really got me, Aaron, in this book, K. Carl puts a study guide, so it's great for kids, and it's got the argument, but then it's got a guide on how to discuss what they're arguing about. And so I never beheld that before, and I really went through every one and would have looked back and read some stuff. So I'm kind of purposely going very slow because I want to research. You know how much I love the subject, what he said about various things. So
That's a good point because the way I wrote the book, I don't want people to read the book just to be reading it. I want them to read the book to learn it.
yeah, yeah,
So I want
and
you to be learning instead of reading. And that's how we become better message of liberty, save this nation, change the trajectory, and crush the Marxist movement in this country once and for all through the liberty message of Douglas.
yeah, it's fascinating, K. Carl, that we would have Frederick Douglass as ours, a United States citizen who really rose up to lead our country back to our founding values. And then these other people are after Karl Marx, who did nothing but sow death and destruction to economies to this very day. It's mind-boggling. So thank you for writing the book.
I just want to close by using your word when you describe Frederick Douglass that the reason why he's the greatest nightmare to the left because he's unassailable. You can't question him, you can't attack him, and you can't defeat him. So why not make him the point of the spear when we go out here and fight for liberty?
And Aaron, I would say this for people who want to dig into Frederick Douglass, there's obviously a ton written about him. He wrote a lot. But one of the things I found absolutely the most fascinating, I think, is I found a law-reviewed article from Brigham Young Law School that analyzed how Frederick Douglass analyzed how Supreme Court decisions should be viewed and the Constitution should be viewed, and how the famous Justice Taney, the original decisions, and you look at the scholarship of this guy, and it's astounding. Absolutely astounding.
He was all homeschooled. He was homeschooled.
Yeah, read the classics.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, no formal education.
Right. But that is, you can look it up, Brigham Young Law School, Frederick Douglass on the Constitution, and the person who wrote the law review paper did incredible research on what he said about the way the Supreme Court had viewed precedent. And this, so everyone watching or listening, so you understand, this was whether the historical history of the Constitution, because the founders owned slaves, whether they thought that was sort of the normal thing, and thus a black person was not a man. And Frederick Douglass just shredded that and said that wasn't the common understanding. You could never look into someone's mind of what they might have thought in writing the words, but you can look at the commonly understood use of words. And Frederick Douglass was, of course, right.
Let me tell you this quick story. So I'm a graduate of Historical Black College, Alabama A&M University, and I just spoke to some history students at the school. Well, this is a high school. Most of these kids going to go to these black colleges. So I had my book there, Chris, and I jumped into the 3/5 clause. So in high school, this history teacher did not know what I was going to say, but she has taught these kids that the 3/5 clause of the Constitution meant that blacks are 3/5 of a human being, and therefore the Constitution is a racist document.
Wow.
The kids bought into that because guess what? They never heard the counter answer. So I opened the book up. I had several copies of the book for the kids, and they turned to the debate about the 3/5 clause. Man, they said, "Wow, this makes a world of difference." And that teacher had to say, "I never knew that." So she didn't know it. And she's a teacher. That's the power of Frederick Douglass and how we can turn this thing around.
Yeah. Well, bless you. Aaron, thank you for a great show.
Yeah, it was a good show. A nice quick one. We got in just under 20, just about 27 minutes, 28 minutes. So it was great seeing everybody. We'll be back here next Thursday at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time to about 11. So as always, remember, and we'll see you on the next episode.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Oh, hey, Chris, I'm going to give you a call.
All right. Cheers.
Okay. All right.